I need you to remove this statue of Mary from this school!
But why? It's part of our tradition!
In the heart of Willow Creek, a seemingly pragmatic decision by the school director to remove the Virgin Mary statue sent shockwaves through the community. What unfolded next was a series of events that not only challenged deeply held beliefs but also united the town in an unforeseen miracle. Before we continue, pause for a moment and tell us in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it where you are right now? It's always inspiring to see how stories of faith, hope, and devotion resonate across the world, from one corner of the globe to another. And if stories of faith tested, communities united, and miracles born from devotion speak to your heart, please subscribe to this channel. Each story is shared to remind us that even difficult decisions can become the doorway to grace. Now, let us continue. Enter Henry Thompson, the 45-year-old school director of St. Peter's Academy. Known for his practical approach and relentless pursuit of modernization, Henry was respected but often regarded with a certain detachment. His decisions, though rooted in logic, frequently left little room for the heart, prioritizing safety and academics over sentiment. On a crisp September morning, Henry found himself stalled in contemplation before the Virgin Mary statue that adorned the school's courtyard. Weathered and cracked, the statue presented itself to Henry not as a symbol of enduring faith, but as a looming liability. As he mulled over the statue's fate, Emily Parker, the school's vibrant art teacher, approached with a warm greeting. Her eyes reflected concern as she spoke of restoration, but Henry remained steadfast. For safety's sake, we might need to remove it, he stated, his words reverberating like a solemn decree. The announcement rippled through Willow Creek, stirring emotions and igniting a debate that would test the fabric of the community's faith and unity. On that defining September morning, Henry Thompson strolled through the familiar confines of St. Peter's Academy courtyard, his gaze fixated on the Virgin Mary statue, towering at 7 feet, clad in a cloak of faded azure. The statue had stood as a beacon of hope for the school. Yet, to Henry's discerning eyes, the chipped base and conspicuous crack signaled an impending hazard, one he was determined to eliminate to ensure the safety of his students. Emily Parker, ever the hopeful, suggested the statue simply needed care, but Henry remained resolute. "I've been contemplating its removal for safety reasons," he asserted. Despite the statue's historical and spiritual significance, Henry's focus was resolute on averting potential accidents. His decision, however, was met with a palpable sense of dismay from Emily, a sentiment that soon echoed throughout the entire community. Word of the statue's potential removal spread with the urgency of a wildfire, sparking a wave of concern among students, parents, and alumni who revered it as a spiritual touchstone. Father John, the compassionate local priest, implored Henry to consider restoration instead. Yet, faced with tight finances and urgent needs, such as new textbooks, Henry remained unmoved. As the day of removal drew near, the community's anxiety reached a crescendo, setting the stage for a poignant clash between pragmatism and the preservation of spiritual heritage. As Henry departed from his conversation with Father John, a persistent unease gnawed at the edges of his conscience. The Virgin Mary statue was more than mere stone and paint. It was an emblem of enduring faith, and a testament to the resilience of generations past. The weight of his decision pressed heavily upon him, compelling him to reflect on the origins of this cherished statue and the profound connections it fostered within the Willow Creek community. Join us as we journey back in time to unravel the roots of this sacred symbol and the legacy it upholds. As Henry walked away from his conversation with Father John, the evening sun cast long shadows across the churchyard, painting the Virgin Mary statue in hues of gold and crimson. This transition from day to night seemed to echo the turmoil within his heart. The statue was not just an object. It was a beacon of light that had guided the community through countless storms. The next morning, whispers of the statue's impending removal spread like wildfire through Willow Creek. Voices rose in fervent discussions at the local cafe and solemn murmurings in the pews of the church. The community was awakening to a cause greater than themselves, driven by a shared desire to preserve a piece of their spiritual heritage. Emily Parker, the beloved art teacher whose vibrant passion for creativity had touched the lives of many students, decided to take action. Her heart was heavy with the fear that a vital link to the community's past was about to be severed. She reached out to Clara, a senior student whose artistic talent was only matched by her deep faith. Together, they crafted a plan to rally the community. Clara, with her youthful energy and earnest conviction, began organizing a series of after-school workshops, hoping to raise funds for the statue's restoration. The art room soon became a bustling hub of activity, filled with the laughter of children and the hopeful whispers of parents and alumni who came to share their stories of the statue's impact on their lives. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of indigo and violet, the art room was filled with the warm glow of candlelight. Clara stood before the gathered crowd, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "This statue," she began, "is more than just a piece of stone. It's a symbol of hope, a reminder of our faith, and the resilience of our community." Emily nodded, stepping forward to share her own story. "When I first came to Willow Creek, I was lost and unsure of my path. But every day, as I passed by this statue, I felt a sense of peace and guidance. It reminded me that I was never alone in my journey." The room was silent, the weight of their words settling like a gentle snowfall. Parents nodded in agreement, their own memories of the statue surfacing in their minds, moments of prayer, of seeking solace in times of grief, of finding joy in shared celebrations. The Virgin Mary statue had borne witness to the tapestry of their lives, a silent guardian of their joys and sorrows. Despite the growing tide of support, Henry remained steadfast in his decision. To him, the financial realities of running the school overshadowed the emotional pleas of the community. New textbooks, modern facilities, and ensuring the safety of the students were his priorities. Yet, as the days passed, the community's resolve only strengthened. Father John, sensing the mounting tension, called for a meeting in the church hall. The room was packed, the air thick with anticipation and hope. Father John, a gentle yet firm presence, began with a prayer, asking for wisdom and clarity. "My dear friends," he said, addressing the crowd, "we are here to seek a path forward, one that honors our past, while embracing our future. Let us open our hearts and minds to alternative solutions." Suggestions were made: fundraisers, grants, volunteer restoration efforts. Each idea was met with enthusiasm, Yet none seemed to sway Henry's unwavering resolve. He listened respectfully, but his mind was set, the burden of responsibility weighing heavily on his shoulders. As the meeting drew to a close, a quiet determination settled over the congregation. They would not give up. The removal day loomed ever closer, and with it, a feeling of urgency that spurred them into action. On the eve of the statue's removal, the community gathered in the churchyard for a silent vigil. The stars twinkled above, a celestial reminder of the divine presence in their midst. Candles flickered in the gentle breeze, casting a soft glow upon the statue that had become a focal point of their prayers and hopes. Clara, standing before the statue, felt a surge of emotion welling up inside her. Closing her eyes, she offered a heartfelt prayer. Blessed Mother, we ask for your intercession. Guide our hearts and minds, and help us find a way to preserve this sacred symbol of our faith. Her words resonated deeply, a ripple of shared longing passing through the crowd. As the final notes of their hymn faded into the night, Henry stood at the edge of the gathering, watching silently. Clara's prayer had stirred something within him, a small seed of doubt that began to take root in his mind. In that moment, he realized that the decision before him was not merely about finances or priorities. It was about the heart and soul of Willow Creek, about the shared history and faith that bound them together. As he turned to leave, the night's silence was punctuated by a gentle whisper of the wind, as if carrying a divine message that only he could hear. The removal day dawned, the sky a somber gray. The community gathered once more, their presence a silent testament to their unwavering faith. As the workers prepared to remove the statue, a palpable tension hung in the air. Henry watched from a distance, the seed of doubt now blossoming into a full-fledged reconsideration. Clara's prayer echoed in his mind, a reminder of the spiritual legacy that the statue represented. He felt the weight of his decision acutely, a burden that was not just his to bear but one shared by the entire community. In a moment of clarity, he raised his hand, signaling the workers to pause. The crowd held its breath, a collective heartbeat suspended in time. Henry approached the statue, his heart open to the possibilities that lay before him. With renewed conviction, he turned to face the community, his voice carrying a new resolve. I have heard your voices, felt your prayers, and seen the love you hold for this statue. Together we will find a way to preserve it, not just as a symbol of our faith, but as a testament to our unity and strength. A wave of relief and joy swept through the crowd, their prayers answered in a moment of divine grace. As the sun broke through the clouds, casting a radiant light upon the statue, the community knew that they had not only saved a cherished symbol but had also strengthened the bonds that held them together. The removal was halted, and plans for restoration began in earnest. The journey was far from over, but with each step, they walked in faith, guided by the light of the Virgin Mary, their beacon of hope. As the decision to halt the removal of the statue brought a sense of relief, the crowd slowly began to disperse, their hearts lighter, yet still touched by the day's emotional roller coaster. The statue of the Virgin Mary stood solemnly in its place, a silent witness to the community's unwavering faith and unity. As twilight gently cloaked the village, the air was filled with a quiet reverence, punctuated only by the soft murmurs of thanksgiving and the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze. Henry lingered behind, watching as families and friends walked down the cobblestone paths, their voices gradually fading into the night. The weight of the day's events pressed heavily on his shoulders, his mind a whirlpool of thoughts and emotions. He had always been a man of reason, guided by logic and responsibility. Yet, today had stirred something deep within him, something he couldn't quite articulate. The fading light of dusk guided Henry back to his office, where he hoped to find solace and clarity. As he entered the room, he paused, the familiar space suddenly feeling different. The air seemed to shimmer with an ethereal quality, and a subtle, sweet fragrance enveloped him, a scent reminiscent of roses, delicate yet profoundly comforting. Henry closed his eyes, breathing deeply. The aroma filled his senses, washing over him in waves of tranquility. It was as if the very presence of the Virgin Mary had graced his office, a gentle reminder of the divine amidst the ordinary. Though his mind resisted, seeking explanations and dismissing the experience as mere imagination, his heart whispered otherwise. He opened his eyes and glanced around the room, searching for the source of the fragrance, but found nothing out of place. Yet, the scent lingered, an invisible presence that seemed to touch every corner of his soul. Henry sat at his desk, his thoughts a tangled web of doubt and curiosity. Could this be a sign? A message meant for him? The question lingered in his mind long after the fragrance had faded, leaving an indelible mark on his spirit. That night, sleep eluded him, his dreams a kaleidoscope of images, faces of the community, the statue bathed in sunlight, and the gentle gaze of the Virgin Mary. Each scene was infused with the floral scent, a haunting reminder of the inexplicable peace he had felt. The following days passed in a blur, each one marked by an increasing sense of distraction. Henry found himself revisiting the encounter, the memory of the rose-scented air refusing to fade. It was a puzzle he couldn't solve, a mystery that defied the logic he held so dear. Yet, as much as he tried to dismiss it, the experience lingered at the edges of his consciousness, urging him to look beyond the tangible. Meanwhile, the community's determination to preserve their beloved statue grew stronger. Emily, ever resourceful and driven by a deep sense of purpose, had discovered a local artist willing to restore the statue without charge. The artist, a humble man named Miguel, had been moved by the community's devotion and felt called to offer his talents in service. Emily shared the news with Henry, her eyes alight with hope. "Miguel is a true artist," she explained, her voice filled with excitement. "He's worked on several religious icons around the region. He sees this as more than just a job, it's a calling for him." Henry listened, her words resonating with the quiet murmurs of his own heart. He could see the spark of hope rekindled in the community's eyes, their faith a palpable force that seemed to guide their every action. Yet, within him an internal struggle raged on, his sense of duty clashing with the growing awareness of something greater at play. In the quiet moments, when the world around him paused and the only sound was the soft rustle of leaves or the distant call of a nightingale, Henry found himself questioning his choices. The scent of roses haunted him, a gentle reminder of the divine mystery that had touched his life. It was as if he stood at a crossroads, one path leading toward his familiar world of reason and responsibility, the other toward an unknown journey of faith and surrender. As days turned into weeks, Henry's internal struggle intensified, Each decision weighed against the backdrop of his inexplicable encounter. The community's faith and unity were unwavering, their efforts to restore the statue a testament to their belief in miracles. And though Henry had been the one to initially halt the removal, he now found himself caught between the role of leader and seeker, his heart pulled toward a truth he could not yet fully grasp. Yet, in the quiet moments of reflection, when the scent of roses seemed to linger just beyond his reach, Henry began to see the outlines of a path he hadn't considered before, a path of faith, where reason and mystery could coexist, guiding him toward a deeper understanding of his place within the community and the divine narrative unfolding around him. This newfound awareness marked the beginning of a transformation, a subtle shift that would eventually lead him to a realization that had been waiting to emerge. As the community continued their journey of restoration, guided by hope and the light of the Virgin Mary, Henry stood on the cusp of his own revelation, ready to embrace the mystery that had called him forth from the shadows of doubt into the light of faith. With each passing day, the scent of roses whispered to him, a reminder of the journey yet to unfold, and the promise of redemption that lay just beyond the horizon. And as he prepared to face what lay ahead, Henry knew that this was only the beginning, a prelude to a story of faith, redemption, and the enduring power of love. As the sun began to rise, casting a warm golden hue over the small town, Henry found himself standing at the threshold of his modest home, sipping a steaming cup of coffee. The morning was unusually quiet save for the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze and the distant chirping of birds. It was a perfect moment of stillness, moment that seemed to stretch out, holding its breath in anticipation. The sudden trill of his phone broke the silence. Henry hesitated for a moment, as though the call itself was a ripple disturbing the calm surface of his morning. He reached for the phone, noting Emily's name flashing on the screen. With a curious mix of apprehension and hope, he answered. "Henry." Emily's voice was bright, infused with an excitement that was almost palpable. "You won't believe what's happened. We've done it. The community has raised all the funds needed for the statue's restoration." Henry paused, letting her words sink in. The statue of the Virgin Mary, a cherished symbol of their faith, had fallen into disrepair over the years. He had once doubted the possibility of restoring it, seeing it as a reflection of his own faltering faith. But now, hearing Emily's news, he felt a warmth spread through him, like a candle being lit in the dim chambers of his heart. "That's incredible, Emily," he finally replied, the awe in his voice unmistakable. "I didn't realize how much people cared." "They care, Henry, more than we ever imagined," Emily said softly. "We're all in this together. Will you join us for the restoration? It would mean so much to everyone." Henry agreed, feeling a new sense of purpose unfurling within him. As he set down his coffee, he realized that this restoration was more than just about the statue. It was a testament to the community's faith and the power of collective prayer. In the days that followed, the town buzzed with activity. Volunteers gathered at the site, their hands working tirelessly to restore the statue to its former glory. Henry watched as the once weathered and faded figure of the Virgin Mary began to transform, each stroke of paint and careful repair breathing life back into the beloved symbol. As Henry joined in the labor, his skepticism slowly gave way, replaced by a burgeoning belief in the power of unity. He found himself immersed in the rhythm of the work, each task a prayer of its own, each movement a small act of devotion. The laughter and camaraderie that filled the air were infectious, and Henry felt his heart swell with a joy he hadn't known in years. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and rose, Henry stood before the statue. The work was complete, and the Virgin Mary now stood vibrant and renewed, her serene gaze watching over the town with a quiet grace. Henry felt an unexpected connection, a profound sense of peace enveloping him like a gentle embrace. In that moment of private reflection, Henry acknowledged the miracle unfolding within him. It wasn't just the statue that had been restored. It was his own faith, rekindled by the community's unwavering belief. He realized that the journey he had embarked on was not only about redemption but also about discovering the enduring power of love and hope. As the town gathered for the unveiling ceremony, Henry marveled at the sight before him. People from all walks of life came together, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of candlelight. The statue, now resplendent and whole, stood as a beacon of unity and renewal, a testament to the strength of their shared faith. The ceremony was simple yet profound. The priest led them in prayer, his words weaving a tapestry of gratitude and praise. Henry stood among the crowd, feeling a sense of belonging that was both comforting and exhilarating. He knew that this moment, this celebration of faith and community, was a turning point, a new chapter in the story of his life. As the final notes of the hymn faded into the night, Henry took a deep breath, his heart full of hope. He understood now that the journey was far from over. There were still challenges to face, still questions to explore, but he was no longer alone. He had found his place within the community, and together they would continue to walk the path of faith and redemption. With the statue's return, the town had been united in celebration, each heart lifted by the promise of hope and the enduring power of love. And as Henry looked to the horizon, he felt a quiet certainty that the story was only just beginning, a story of faith, redemption, and the miracles that unfold when hearts are open to the divine. The night sky stretched out above them, vast and full of stars, as if reflecting the limitless possibilities that lay ahead. And in that moment, Henry knew that he was ready to embrace whatever the future held, guided by the light of faith and the love of the community that had welcomed him home. The morning of the reinstallation ceremony dawned with a gentle golden light that seemed to bless the town itself. As the sun rose steadily, its rays illuminated the church square, casting a warm glow over the gathering crowd. The anticipation was palpable, a hum of excitement interwoven with reverent silence as the townspeople assembled to witness the return of their beloved statue of the Virgin Mary. Henry stood at the edge of the crowd, his heart swelling with gratitude and peace. The past few weeks had woven him into the fabric of this community, and he felt a profound connection to each person gathered around him. The statue, now meticulously restored, was a testament not only to the artisanship of those who labored over it but also to the power of collective faith that had brought it back to its rightful place. Father Michael, the parish priest, stepped forward, his voice carrying over the crowd with gentle authority. "My dear friends, today we gather not just to celebrate the return of our beloved statue, but to honor the spirit of unity and faith that has brought us here. Let this day remind us of the miracles that faith can achieve when we stand together. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, and Henry felt the truth of those words settle into his heart. He had witnessed firsthand how the community had rallied together, each person contributing what they could, whether it was time, skill, or prayer to restore something that held deep meaning for them all. As the ceremony proceeded, Henry's gaze drifted to the statue, now standing proudly once more in its alcove. The sunlight danced across its porcelain face, giving an ethereal glow to the serene expression of the Virgin Mary. The scent of roses filled the air, gentle yet unmistakable, reminding Henry of the mysterious encounter that had marked the beginning of his transformation. He closed his eyes briefly, feeling a sense of connection to the divine, as if the Virgin Mary herself was smiling upon them all. The sound of music filled the square, a choir of voices rising in harmonious praise. The hymn was familiar, its melody weaving through Henry's memories, pulling him back to a time when he had stood in this very place. As a boy, his heart full of questions and wonder. Now, he understood that those questions and the journey they had taken him on were all part of the path he was meant to walk. As the hymn concluded, Father Michael invited the congregation to come forward, one by one, to offer a silent prayer at the foot of the statue. Henry watched as families approached, children clutching their parents' hands, elders moving with careful steps, each person bringing their hopes, fears, and gratitude to the Virgin Mary's feet. When it was his turn, Henry felt a gentle nudge from within, urging him forward. He approached the statue with reverence, his heart full of words that he could not quite articulate. Kneeling before the statue, he bowed his head, allowing the moment to envelop him. He thought of the journey that had brought him back to this town, the trials that had tested him, and the love that had healed him. In the quiet of his heart, he offered a prayer of thanks, not just for the miracles he had witnessed but for the community that had welcomed him home. Rising, he returned to his place, feeling lighter, as if a burden had been lifted from his shoulders. He turned to meet the eyes of those around him, nodding in acknowledgement of their shared experience. The townspeople had become more than acquaintances. They were family, bound together by faith and the pursuit of redemption. As the ceremony drew to a close, Father Michael extended an invitation to all gathered to join in a communal meal feast to celebrate their shared journey and the promise of new beginnings. Tables laden with food and drink appeared as if by magic, and the square was soon filled with laughter and conversation. Henry found himself moving easily among the townspeople, engaging in conversations, sharing stories, and listening to the experiences of others. Each exchange deepened his appreciation for the community and the diverse tapestry of lives that it encompassed. As he spoke with old friends and made new ones, he marveled at the way their lives had intersected, each encounter a thread in the larger narrative of faith and redemption. The scent of roses lingered in the air, a gentle reminder of the miracle that had set this chapter of his life in motion. It was a symbol of the Virgin Mary's presence, a testament to the divine mystery that had touched his soul and changed his life forever. As the afternoon sun began to dip toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the square, Henry found himself standing alongside the statue once more. He traced the delicate features with his eyes, feeling a sense of peace settle over him. The story of his life was far from over, but he was ready to embrace whatever the future held, guided by the light of faith and the love of the community that had welcomed him home. He turned toward the horizon, where the sky was painted in shades of orange and pink, the promise of a new day already whispering on the breeze. And in that moment, Henry knew with quiet certainty that this was only the beginning, a story of faith, redemption, and the miracles that unfold when hearts are open to the divine. As the days turned into weeks, Henry's visits to the statue of the Virgin Mary became a cherished ritual. Each time he approached, he felt a profound sense of peace wash over him, as though the very air around the statue was imbued with grace and serenity. The community of Willow Creek, inspired by the miraculous events surrounding the statue, began to gather more frequently in the square. It was as if the town had found its soul, and the statue stood at the heart of it all, a beacon of hope and renewal. Every Sunday, the townsfolk would come together for a communal prayer service, their voices rising in unison, like a harmonious chorus, echoing through the streets and reaching up to the heavens. Father Thomas, the town's wise and gentle priest, often spoke during these gatherings, his words weaving tales of faith, unity, and the boundless love of the divine. Faith, he would remind them, is not just a solitary journey. It is the thread that binds us to one another, creating a tapestry of hope and strength. Together we can face any challenge, overcome any obstacle, and transform our community into a living testament of God's love. Henry, standing among his friends and neighbors, felt the truth of those words resonate deep within him. He had witnessed firsthand the transformative power of faith not only in his own life but in the lives of those around him. The once struggling town now thrived with a renewed spirit, its people united in their shared belief and purpose. The town's revitalization was evident everywhere. The local church, which had once been nearly empty on Sundays, now overflowed with congregants eager to express their gratitude and devotion. The small businesses lining Main Street bustled with activity, their owners buoyed by the renewed sense of community and support. Even the once neglected gardens and parks bloomed with vibrant colors, a testament to the town's rebirth. Henry often found himself reflecting on his journey, the unexpected path that had led him back to Willow Creek and into the arms of a loving community. He remembered the struggles and doubts he had faced, the moments of darkness that had threatened to consume him. But through it all, he had been guided by an unseen hand, a divine presence that had never abandoned him. One particularly serene afternoon, as the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden glow over the square, Henry stood before the statue once more. The fragrance of roses lingered in the air, a gentle reminder of the miracles that had touched their lives. He closed his eyes and whispered a silent prayer of gratitude, his heart swelling with a profound sense of peace. "Thank you," he murmured, the words carried away on a gentle breeze. "Thank you for bringing me home, for showing me the way, and for the gift of this community." As if in response, a soft rustling sounded in the nearby trees, and a single rose petal drifted down, landing at Henry's feet. He smiled, knowing that this was no coincidence, but rather another sign of the divine presence that watched over them all. The sound of laughter drew his attention, and he turned to see a group of children playing nearby, their joyous shouts filling the square with life. Among them was Emily, the young girl whose unwavering faith had inspired so many. She waved at Henry, her eyes shining with happiness, and he waved back, his heart full. In that moment, Henry understood that the true miracle lay not just in the statue or in the events that had unfolded, but in the transformation of the town itself. Willow Creek had discovered its heart, its people bound together by faith and the enduring power of belief. The statue was a symbol of hope and unity, a reminder that, even in the darkest times, light could be found. As the evening drew in, the townsfolk began to gather for the weekly prayer service. Candles were lit there, warm glow casting a gentle light over the square. Father Thomas stood before the gathering, his voice carrying a message of hope and gratitude. "We have been blessed," he began, his words resonating with every soul present. "Our faith has been tested, and we have emerged stronger, united, and filled with love. Let us continue to walk this path together, guided by the light of the divine and the strength of our community." The crowd responded with a fervent amen, their voices unified in a shared purpose. Henry joined in, his heart lifted by the collective spirit of those around him. As the service concluded, Henry lingered a while longer, watching as the townsfolk dispersed, their hearts light and their spirits renewed. The scent of roses lingered in the air, a gentle reminder of the unseen forces guiding them on their journey. With a final glance at the statue, Henry turned and began to walk home, the promise of a new day whispering on the evening breeze. He knew that challenges would come, as they always did, but he also knew that together they could face anything. With faith as their guide and the love of the community as their strength, the people of Willow Creek were ready to embrace whatever the future held. As he made his way through the now familiar streets, Henry felt a profound sense of gratitude. His journey was far from over, but he was no longer alone. He was part of something greater, a testament to faith, redemption, and the miracles that happen when hearts are open to the divine. And in that knowledge, he found peace. The chapter ends with the scent of roses once more filling the air, a gentle reminder that the story of Willow Creek is a living testament to the enduring power of faith and community. Here is a thoughtful, faith-centered end comment and subscribe cue, crafted to fit a story about faith-tested, community unity, and unexpected miracles, and including the location plus time question as requested. Before you go, take a moment and share with us in the comments. Where are you watching from, and what time is it where you are right now? It's always inspiring to see how stories of faith and devotion unite hearts across the world. At every hour, sparkles if this story of challenged beliefs, community strength, and the Virgin Mary's quiet intercession touched your heart. Please subscribe to this channel. Each story is shared to remind us that even in moments of division, grace can bring people together. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next story of hope, unity, and divine grace. Thank you for watching. May the Virgin Mary guide and protect you and your community, now and always.